Hi everyone, this is Diane. I'm working on the covers for the music journals. I am using the Stamperia music, that's what it's called, music paper. This is an unopened package. I had bought two of them when they were on sale a few years ago. So I don't think I'm actually going to use the other package. So hopefully we'll have music supplies that I can sell as a kit after I'm done making these. So this is the one pack of paper, and then I'm using a digital kit called the Musician's Parlor, and I will link that below along with I'll link the Etsy shop because I can't remember the name of the Etsy shop. And I didn't print all of the pages. There's ephemera that's included in this that I did not print because I don't need it, but I printed my favorite pages. That'll be distributed between the two journals. This was already printed from the last time I used this kit, so I will back them with something like this. And so I've been thinking about what to do about the cover. I told you in a recent video that I was considering using these frames that came from an antique photo album. I just added this gold to it to test it out. So I cut them down. I cut down two of the frames, and I selected my two images that I will use. And I was looking through my fabrics, thinking I had cut chipboard to 6 3/4 by 10 inches to be the size of my journal cover. So I was looking for some fabric that I could cover it with, and I would probably have to piece some together. And I came across my Tapestry fabric. So I found some pieces that are big enough and just perfect for these. So this one I already started to create the journal. I think I made a mistake. I should have kept it all one big piece so I could have the tapestry as the spine fabric, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I think it would just be too thick to wrap around the spine, and I should have just left it all one piece. So it's good to just make one to make my mistakes. But I'll make it work. I'll do something. It'll be nice. And I thought this particular picture looked great on this piece. And the photo album piece is embossed, but it's very hard to see, so I thought I might highlight it with the gold paint. And I wanted to put gold around the edges that I had cut anyway, because they don't look very finished. And then I found this piece, which I think would be lovely. Actually, the more square frame goes on her because it needed to be a little wider. But I think this is the perfect color for this. And then this for that. I think these will be lovely covers. So on this video, I'm going to touch up the frames and attach the artwork to the frames. And I'm using this metallic gilding polish from Cosmic Shimmer. And it's not quite as liquid. It wasn't liquid, but it's thicker now than it used to be. So I want to make sure I use it before it hardens. So I have it on my finger, and I'm just going to start lightly rubbing it across the embossed parts. Maybe I'll do the edge first. And it shows up the pebbled texture, which I think is so cool. Making sure I get the edge because that is a cut edge. looks better already. And I think this slot is here to put the picture in and out. So we don't need it. So I could cut that part off because I think it takes up a lot of the book cover. So if I cut that off there, some more of the tapestry would show. Now I don't want to get a glob on there, so I don't want too much on my finger. And I start moving my hand before I touch the paper. It's kind of like when you're using distress ink and you start off of your project and then move on to it while you're in motion. I kind of do that so that I'm not just setting it down and making a blob, you know. Does that make sense? Because I have made blobs with stuff like this before. I want to make sure I do the inside edge too. You can see a little bit of the backing piece through the hole, which a photograph would have covered. But we won't have a photograph covering that. So we're covering it with gold paint. On the other one, I peeled a lot of that backing piece off because it showed a little bit at the top, and I didn't want that. So I just started peeling that off, and I ended up peeling off most of the back piece. So this is the part that we're going to see, and I peeled off because it had this piece on the back, and it showed a little bit right there. So I have to be careful when I'm gilding that one because it's more fragile than this. Now I got more on there than I wanted. I'm putting more over here just because I had it. It was a little heavier over there. But I'm being very timid about putting too much on my finger. Let's see what we think. This one is going on the other cover. So I'll just put it on here because I don't have that other cover ready. Oh yes, that looks very pretty. I like that a lot. Gonna wipe my fingers off. I don't want to turn into Midas, turning everything to gold with a touch of my finger. I mean, I would like to, but not just fake gold like this. So I'm just going to put glue around the perimeter of the picture frame. Well, I drew her in a circle, so I see a circle around her, so I did it for this one, but I'm sure that I wanted, and I did this one for this one. Let me see how this looks. Yeah, that's enough. That's wide enough for her. Okay, I'm going to go back to this one. Maybe I needed the width for her music stand. I think either frame would have worked nicely for either picture, so it doesn't matter. So this one will go on the cover I started preparing. And then maybe I'll have room for a book plate down here. Now, what am I going to do about the spine? I don't know if my fabric would have been wide enough, if this fabric would have been wide enough to do complete cover, front, back, and spine all in one piece. Because it had been cut to be the back of a coat, a jacket it looked like. So it would have been wide enough this way, but that would put the print sideways. Maybe it would have been wide enough this way. Somebody already started sewing it here. Yeah, it would have been wide enough this way. Might still be wide enough. And I cut a good chunk off. This would have been a large size jacket. I wonder if I should start again, cut a different chipboard, and do this over. Because it has the front cover here, back cover here, and then there's still enough, more than enough for a spine. Maybe I'll do that. I think that would be the easiest thing to do. I'm going to cut this part that's already sewn off. Not with those scissors. And I'll probably do a 2-inch spine like I usually do. I get this chipboard from Amazon. I can leave the link for this below too if you'd like. a good weight. I usually use it for my spines, but in this case, I'm using it for the cover too. And I cut it 10 inches. And then I'll have another chipboard over here. And if I use these chipboard pieces for all of my covers, I'd be going through it really fast. 6 3/4 this way. My pages are 6 inches wide. It's just 12 by 12 cardstock that I folded in half. If this could have been my spine, that would be great, because that's 1.5 inches. And that would be a good use of that chipboard. So if I'm not going to be real fancy on the inside. I'm going to keep my embellishments simple, but I know me. I like to do a lot of pockets, and they do make it bulkier. But if I can use the 1.5 inch for the spine, I will. Yep, there's lots of room for that. So what I would do is cut this fabric with enough to fold it over. I'm going to trim off this frayed edge so I don't have to deal with that, and then cut it with less than 1 inch, but maybe 1 inch to fold over, because it's so thick. It's going to be bulky to fold over, and if I made it too narrow, it would want to just keep popping up. So then once I have this done and I sewed it on, and I'm not that great at mitering corners. It's fraying here, but I figured I could add metal corners to that. I didn't want to, sometimes I do, let me see if you can see me. Sometimes I do a corner, like with paper, when I'm doing a paper covered cover. I'll fold this part in like that, and then fold those. And it makes a nice corner, but this is really thick, too thick to do that. So in this case, I cut not quite to the point, but very close to the point, and angled it, and then just folded them in. But because this fabric frays, the corner was fraying. But I figured metal corners would hide that. So that's what I'll do with these. I'll fold them over like that and use metal corners. And then I will put another fabric on the inside to cover it. And then I'll just treat it like a regular book cover and put my signatures in. All right, I'm not going to do all that right now on camera. I want to be able to move around and get my fabric cut just right. So I'm going to work on this one. So, I said in a chatty video that I would talk about why I think I want to keep a lot of the journals that I'm making nowadays. I was thinking about that, thinking, why do you keep wanting to keep your journals when you're trying to earn a living? And I thought, I'm also doing a lot of thinking in the back of my mind about really slowing down with making journals and selling them in my shop. And I've got to trim that a little more even. So I feel like I want to keep different ones in case I quit making them, you know? But even if I quit making them for the shop, I could still make some for friends and family and maybe occasionally sell some in the shop. And I'm not even talking about this year, so don't worry about that. I'll still be making journals for my shop for 2024. But if I do decide to not do it anymore, and I'll still want to make them, but I don't need to keep all of the supplies, all of the different styles. And I really like the children's book ones with the children's book images. And so I feel like I might get rid of Tapestry fabric, or I'm not keeping any of either of these, just so you know. I already got rid of boho. I kept some boho stuff just for different styles, but you know, I'm not going to keep all of the supplies, because that's part of why I am thinking about slowing down or quitting eventually, is because I just have too much stuff around. And I find that I feel some anxiety and distress when I have too much stuff out and messy. And with the kind of journals that I make, I use a big variety of supplies, and it makes a mess. I have it spread all over, and I try to keep track of stuff while I'm working so I can use all the stuff in my journal. And then it takes me a day and a half to clean up afterward and put everything back neatly. And it just gets to me sometimes. So I would like to use fewer supplies. Maybe eventually, if I decide that I've had enough of it, I can still continue making my favorite kinds of journals and keep limited supplies, you know? So I could still make journals to put in my shop, but not have so much stuff around. Does that make sense to any of you? And this is just all in the back of my mind. I'm not making any plans to quit right now. I've been steadily destashing, as you know, because I don't want to have a huge supply of stuff to get rid of when that time comes. And I don't want my children to have to deal with it if something happens to me. I want there to be limited stuff for them to have to go through or get rid of. Okay, so I hope all of that makes sense. And none of you have criticized me for wanting to keep more of my journals than I used to. But I'm just explaining. I mean, I'm entitled to do what I want to with the journals that I make. But, you know, I have a business. That I might have to reprint that. Nope, it's hidden. I got some glue on that, but it's hidden, so that's good. Yeah, that's going to be a real pretty book, isn't it? I think if I was going to buy one of these, I would want this one just because I am a pianist. But I love this image too. And she is playing the cello. And I think that's going to be it for today. It's just a short video today. But at least now I know what I'm doing for the covers, and that really helps me a lot. I might go ahead and cut some papers. Let's look at some of the papers. I'll do some cutting. We still have time. If you want to keep watching, I'll do some of the papers. So I've got those. I like the piano one. I know I have more. Maybe, I think I have more pages than this. If I don't, if this is all there is, let's see, 10 double-spaced sheets, and some of the sheets are cut aparts. So maybe I will use both pads so I can have a whole one in each journal. Then I won't have to divide them up. Okay, now, what other papers do I have? I didn't get out any other kinds of paper, but I have my digitals, and I have my music pages from music books. Not just printed music to play, but books about music. Oh, they're in here. They're in here. These are all ephemera things. This is the front page, so I could cut some of these images out and use them, but also I can use this to make journaling cards. And this is the back, and that looks like that. It's beautiful, so I could use that for backgrounds. And another thing I was thinking about as far as my creating is I find that I am really getting anxious to be done now with my journal projects. So I love starting them, and I love it when I get into the flow and I am figuring things out and creating. And that is really fun for me, and I love it. And then when I'm finishing up the second book, I'm ready to be done. So I think that I'll be doing less of 2 books at a time. Even though it's the quickest way for me to make 2 books, maybe I'll just stick with doing 1 book. I don't have to make 2 books. What a handsome man was Chopin. All right, so I have so many music book pages that I'm thinking I want at least 2 pages in each signature. So that means 6 pages, and I only get to pick 6 out of all of these wonderful pages that I have. I had several different books. So I love the music. I don't remember what the name of the book was, but it was Clockwork Music or something like that. Yeah, I think that's the name of the book, Clockwork Music. And it just has such wonderful images. So I want to put at least 1 of those in each book. Maybe not each signature, but this one is called an orchestrion, Fortuna Orchestrion. Very suitable for concerts and dances. It plays 2 tunes at the same time, with or without coin attachment. That's beautiful. Gross concert orgle. Oh, it's in a different language. So maybe it means organ. I was thinking, is that a type of organ? But that's not English, this advertisement. So let's see, how much would I have to cut off of that to make it 6 inches? That's not bad. So that could be a page like that. I already have a lineup of what my next journals will be, and they will be interrupted by some summer journals like strawberries, maybe ice cream again, because I have a lot of things to make ice cream journals still. And I do love ice cream. And lemons, that'll be a new one for me. I might fold that in a page like that. What else am I doing for summer? I'm not doing a gardening one this year. That'll be a really pretty page. It'll have to be folded like this. That'll be pretty. And this also could be a folio. Make sure it's, I think my pages are 9.5. Oh, I'll have to trim a little off that. Just a tiny bit. Okay, strawberries and lemons and ice cream and Seems like there was something else. That cut a little crooked, so I'm just going to trim a little more off. And then I'll go back to what I have on my list. Let me look here. Oh, summer/patriotic journal. So those should keep me busy for a few months, a couple months at least in the summer. Because I'll start strawberry one in May. Strawberry season is in early to mid-June here in this area. So I like to have them done before strawberry season starts. So I'll start strawberries in May. I might do the lemons or the ice cream in May. And I'll do the patriotic one in June. Is that all? Yeah, ice cream, lemon, yep. Then I can go back to my regularly scheduled program, but I'm not telling you what is next on my list after the music journals. I love that. I don't think I want to keep it as a folio, though, because this has some of the glue on it, where it was glued into the book. This is an upright piano. It's the electric self-playing piano. Very interesting. So it's like a player piano, but the rollers are down here instead of up here. I think the rollers are normally up here. Maybe this is an original, one of the early versions of it. I love this with the girls at the piano because it's reminiscent of my sisters and me. I used to have 3 sisters, and the youngest was 10 years younger than me. But so she didn't join in with us for a while. I mean, when I was a teenager, it was Annette and me at the piano because Barbara is 5 years younger than me, and they weren't that interested. But they all sing nicely, and we just spent hours at the piano. And our Christmas gatherings, once we were married, had our own families. When we got together at my house or any place that had a piano, my sister Barbara has a piano. After the meal, we gathered around the piano and sang, especially at Christmas time. And you know, the other family members, I've got nieces and nephews that can sing, and my mother can sing. My father has a nice voice, but he doesn't gather with us and sing. He sits with the boys and talks. He doesn't enjoy singing, but he can sing. So I miss that because nobody has enough space in their houses to gather the families anymore. I don't know, I think I'm doing too many pages, but I just have so many beautiful pages. So some of these pages will end up in a journal kit. Look at these. 19th century cornet in C with 7 bells, made by Adolphe Sax. You have to know that he created the saxophone because of his name. You'd know that, right? 3 slide trombones. Wow, those are fancy, and the sound came out of the mouth. That's so cool. And look at the heads on the string instruments. A hurdy-gurdy. I thought a hurdy-gurdy, and this is one too. I thought that was one of those things that the hurdy-gurdy man would go up and down the street and turn the crank, and the monkey would dance, and people would put money in the monkey's hat. That's a hurdy-gurdy, but this must be some version of it, early version. All right, I'm just talking and rambling, and I have way more pages than I need for these journals. But I want to put some actual music pages in too. I'm just trimming off the rough edges. And I don't know what other papers are going in here. I have the Stamperia paper, the digitals, and these book pages. That's all I have. So I think I will call it the end of the video now. And I'm going to go find something else to do. I've been in here a long time today, which is great. I did some ephemera, cleaning up ephemera, which were my previous 2 videos. And now I'm doing this. So I've got other things I must do. And the day is getting long. But I will see you very soon, and I hope that you are having a creative day. Bye.